Hey, what's going on, you guys? So, I wanted to do just a quick take on what's going on. We're in the final week of SCS-200, and I know you guys haven't heard from me in a while. I decided in this particular class that I was going to go through at the end of the project, at the end of the class, just to kind of give you guys a look at things as they are in real life. So, first of all, we're going to start off in the grades like we always do. And so I am holding down a strong A in this class. I will tell you now a couple of things that now having gone through the class, if I were starting the class, I would focus on and kind of some things to pay attention to. So first and foremost, we are at week 8. So this is the final project. And so what I just really want to focus on with the grades and the things kind of depending on how you want to do in your classes. So what I did, I'll just use this last final week, week 7, to kind of give you an idea of what I'm referring to. Week 7, you basically the whole part of this class is using this applied social sciences. So you're going to look at 3 different versions of, three different aspects. Let me say that. And there are 3 different aspects of social science, and that's what this focuses on. So in my class, this was one of the projects. So is graffiti art therapy, for example? And so in my response, which I'll get to here in a minute, in the way kind of I do mine, as you guys know, if you've been following me any length of this journey, you will know my stuff is always very visual. And a lot of it is going to engage the reader the same way you would in a blog, because everything that usually goes back and forth in class is really boring to me. So I just put my own flair on it. So nonetheless, what the breakdown in these 2 things are, I decided to do the psychological and the sociological versions of this course, as far as applied social sciences is concerned, in this post, because you need to be able to basically argue for one of the social sciences. So you need to be able to say, I'm going to speak in my post on the sociological side of it, or as a psychologist would, or as a sociologist would in this case. So how would a sociologist look at this? How would a psychological student look at this? So that's really what you're arguing for in this particular aspect. So getting back to the grades, one thing I wanted to kind of bring up and how I would focus my attention if I were taking this class again. If I were taking this class again, I would focus on my discussions. The discussions, she does take the discussions very seriously. And my instructor in this course made sure that we always focused in on how we were responding to our peers in the class. So I would focus on that. These module 1 short responses, I will show you what those really are, because they at first I first of all, you're not going to be able to get through this class without the book. So that's the first thing to speak to. I will go in module 8, and so you kind of get an idea of the area. So when you get the book and everything is signed up, this is what the book looks like when you're actually in the book. It will be Mind's Edge is just their version of a book. And so as you go through these things, you will have areas, for example, where you'll go through, you'll read, and then you will have things like this, where you'll have a whole entire video that you need to watch. And then these are the little responses, the short responses. And, in some of mine, as you can see, they were quite long. But once you get to the end of it, at the very end of the course, you will be given all of the things. So all of those will culminate into one, in essence, post. And so everything that you've been doing, all of the questions that you've been answering will go through. And at the very bottom, there will be a download Word document. Now, when you download the Word document, that is what goes in your post in here. So as you go through and you do your post, you do have to turn in the reason why mine isn't there is because I've already turned mine in for this course, and you will turn it in here. Now this on week 8, we just have to finish up our final project. And so most of this class has been focused on doing this project. And it's basically a PowerPoint presentation. I believe it's like 7 or 8 slides. And basically, what you've been doing through 8 weeks is going through, choosing a topic. So, if you've ever written before in any type of class and you've had to kind of, the whole class is just broken down into these little aspects to get you to the end, that's really what this course does too. It just goes through and you break up into 8 weeks and you pick your topic, and then you got to go through and find your resources and so forth. And that's really what this class is about, and teaching you about the applied sciences. That's the way that it does it. So overall, I don't think that this course is really difficult. As you can see, this is a 200 level course. So if you've gone to high school, even if you've been out of high school for a while, this course should be fairly fun for you to go through. I didn't have any problems with any of my posts or keeping up, as long as you keep up with the schedule that I think works really well. So you have to do a post on Thursday. So even if you do nothing else during the week, on Thursday, arrive, check and see if you need to do a post a post on Thursday. Once you get done with that, I do most of my work on Saturday, Sunday. Some of the work I will break out, like in this project, I've kind of broken it down into other days, but most of the stuff I can get done on Saturday and Sunday, sometimes Friday night. But if you kind of stay in that and you do those 3 days, you should be able to do this with no problems. If there's anything else you guys want to know, by all means, you can definitely reach out to me. I will be happy to answer any questions that you have about this particular class. But this is the final week of SCS-200. And other than that, the only other thing I wanted to let you guys know is there was a change. So as you can see, our academic advisor changed. So recently I had an academic advisor. I found out that, and I really liked my academic advisor. He was prior military just like me. And then all of a sudden he was gone. I found out from his boss on a Friday, like, hey, by the way, he's leaving and your new academic advisor will be calling you within the week. And so Philip is a prior Marine. And so that's good for me because I have somebody who has a military mindset. And so that so far is everything that's been going on. I'll keep you guys posted if there's anything I think you should know. But as the classes go on, our next class that we have that is coming up is, I believe it is going to be computer operating systems. Yeah. So that's the next one that's coming up, but that's after a 2-week break. If I don't get a chance to talk to you before the holidays, have a great holiday. I'll chat with you guys later. Bye.